Purgatory in 1 Corinthians 3:15. The doctrine of purgatory in the Catholic Church is explained in this statement from the Second Vatican Council, page 63, which says, "The truth has been divinely revealed that sins are followed by punishments. God's holiness and justice inflict them. Sins must be expiated. This may be done on this earth through the sorrows, miseries, and trials of this life, and, above all, through death. Otherwise, the expiation must be made in the next life through fire and torments of purifying punishments." The Protestant Church has objected to the doctrine of purgatory by stating that this teaching denies the sufficiency and full efficacy of Christ's atoning sacrifice. To say that our sins are expiated by our suffering is an insult to the cross of Christ, since it says that the cross was not sufficient to cleanse us of our sins. It says that we must suffer, that we must do something to have our sins fully cleansed. Instead, the Protestants maintain that Jesus' sacrifice alone is what justifies and removes from us all guilt. We look to the cross, and to the cross alone, for the complete forgiveness of our sins, and, though our works will one day be judged, we have passed out of condemnation, Romans 8:1. Our works reflect on rewards in heaven, not to get us to heaven. Jesus bore all our sins, 1 Peter 2:24. There are no sins left for purgatory to cleanse because it was all done by Jesus on the cross. This is why Jesus said, "It is finished," John 19:30. In Greek, the term "it is finished" is, I can't pronounce it, so there's the word. It was a term used in legal context to state that a debt had been paid in full. Papyri receipts for taxes have been recovered with the word, there it is again, written across them, meaning paid in full. Therefore, there is no need for purgatory. Nevertheless, because the Protestants appeal so much to the Bible, the Catholics have sought to find the doctrine of purgatory within its pages. One such verse is 1 Corinthians 3:15. "If any man's work is burned up, he shall suffer loss, but he himself shall be saved, yet so as through fire." As with any verse in the Bible, to fully understand it we must look at it in its biblical context. Following is 1 Corinthians 3:10-15. "According to the grace of God which was given to me, as a wise master and builder I laid a foundation, and another is building upon it. But let each man be careful how he builds upon it, for no man can lay a foundation other than the one which is laid, which is Jesus Christ. Now if any man builds upon the foundation with gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, straw, each man's work will become evident, for the day will show it, because it is to be revealed with fire. And the fire itself will test the quality of each man's work. If any man's work which he has built upon it remains, he shall receive a reward. If any man's work is burned up, he shall suffer loss, but he himself shall be saved, yet so as through fire." The context speaks of Paul having planted the Corinthian church, and that another person was building upon that work. Verse 6 says, "I planted, Apollos watered, but God was causing the growth." Paul goes on to say that unless a person builds upon the foundation of Jesus, his work will be burned up in the day of judgment, verse 13. See also 1 Corinthians 5:5, 2 Corinthians 1:14, and 1 Thessalonians 5:2. Paul is simply using the terms that are familiar with the people of the time. Fire was the tool used to purify metals and to get rid of that of which was unwanted, the dross. So too on the day when our works are examined, the fire judgment will both purify and remove. This will not affect our salvation, but it will affect our rewards. The theme of fire used as purification is also found in 2 Peter 3:10-13, but this is not talking about becoming saved or staying saved. 1 Corinthians 3:15 does not teach purgatory as a place we go in order to have some of our sins cleansed from us. It teaches that even though the person is justified by faith and cannot face damnation, his works will, however, be judged on that day. Those works which are good will survive the fires of judgment, the way gold, silver, and precious stones can survive fire. But false works will be consumed the way fire consumes wood, hay, and straw. What is left has no bearing on whether or not we are saved. It has to do with rewards in heaven. Paul goes on to say in 1 Corinthians 4:5, "Therefore do not go on passing judgment before the time, but wait until the Lord comes, who will both bring to light the things hidden in the darkness and disclose the motives of men's hearts. And then each man's praise will come to him from God." Note also 1 Peter 1:6-7, "In this you greatly rejoice, even though now for a little while, if necessary, you have been distressed by various trials, that the proof of your faith, being more precious than gold which is perishable, even though tested by fire, may be found to result in praise and glory and honor at the revelation of Jesus Christ." 2 Peter 3:10-13, "But the day of the Lord will come like a thief, in which the heavens will pass away with a roar, and the elements will be destroyed with intense heat, and the earth and its works will be burned up." Since all these things are to be destroyed in this way, what sort of people ought you to be in holy conduct and godliness, looking for and hastening the coming of the day of the Lord, on account of which the heavens will be destroyed by burning, and the elements which melt with intense heat. But according to his promise, we are looking for new heavens and a new earth, in which righteousness dwells. Purgatory is a dangerous doctrine that makes the cross of Christ insufficient by requiring the person to undergo suffering in order to be made worthy of being with God. This is a false teaching and is to be avoided. We are justified by faith, Romans 5:1, not by faith and works, Romans 3:28.